think I wanted to start by telling you how my own philosophy grew organically as I lived in this place and began working with this land. And it's beautiful to have heard this morning how Paula and Ingrid and all of you have been discussing healthy homes, and your premise has been not just to start from the outside about what's healthy and then impose it on yourself, but to also listen to what your own desire is, what resonates with you, and then allow your own expression to come forward. And so it's that synergy between the outer place where you live and your own inner house of being, finding a healthy marriage. And that's what has interested me with gardening. I come from a long line of gardeners. I grew up on Vancouver Island, and my parents and my grandparents were all gardeners. And my siblings, we all garden too. We love doing it. But my experience with gardening goes a whole level deeper than just making a pretty place. For me, it's about making the land come alive again in a way that it can sing, literally vibrate at a different frequency. And that comes with from my interest in healing, my interest in embodied spirituality, not disembodied spirituality, but in the sense that the earth is alive and a living being, and that our participation in the earth makes a huge difference to the quality of space and energy. Now that's nothing new to those of you sitting here talking about healthy houses, but it is radical when we start talking about making a landscape. Back in 1996 I had a dream, and the dream was one of those ones that has haunted me for years because it's been the core of the philosophy that I've had to grow into. In the dream, I'm in a woodland area, and I walk up and I see a table sitting in the woods near a stream. And 2 men and 2 women are sitting at the table. If you know anything about Jungian principles, this is a very balanced masculine and feminine, an image of the whole psyche being present. And I walk up, and one by one, each person repeats this same phrase to me. So in the dream, I hear this 4 times. Again, very important. And the phrase is, "Precious is my garden, and my garden is me. Precious is my garden, and my garden is me." Well, I began to look at my outside garden and realize that that was a reflection of me, a mirror, but also it was an extension of me, a larger body, so to speak. We talk about houses keeping going out into the garden, but not just your house, but your whole house, inner house of being continues. So then the idea came, if our gardens are reflections of us, and I went into somebody else's garden, I could probably say a lot about them. So one time when I was visiting my parents on Qualicum Beach in Vancouver Island, one of my father's good friends is an avid gardener. There's not a patch of lawn in her place. It's just, and her heart and soul goes into her garden. So I said, "Jenny, I have this hypothesis." And she's in her 80s, but she's very open. "I have this hypothesis that I could read, like your palm, I could read your garden. Would you let me do that?" And she started talking, and I said, no, I don't want you to tell me anything. I'd like to know very little. I'd just like to go out and read the garden with you. And you must not say anything until I'm done. So we did. We went out for about an hour and a half. And I just walked around and I said, this is what I feel here. This is the area where family is very important to you. And I can see that you've created a space that really reflects family. And this tree, the placement of this tree, says more about who you are at the soul level. And the way the pathways go reflect such and such. And I was just being intuitive and reading this. And I picked up a place where I felt there was tremendous sadness. And it was difficult to speak about it because I didn't know her. But if I was going to be truthful to what I was doing, I still decided to do that. And Jenny's just being quiet and saying nothing. And at the end of the hour and a half, I said, well, how was that? And absolutely, without a fault, her whole persona, inner persona, her heart, and her outer persona in terms of her personality, was absolutely laid out there in that garden. This is what I feel we have the potential to remake, to re-express, to recreate ourselves through our gardening. When we build a home, and hats off to you, Ingrid and Paula, for what you're trying to do here. You create it and then you have to kind of live with it or make it expensive adjustments. In a garden, if an area doesn't work, next year you remake it. There's a kind of forgiveness in the relationship with nature that allows you to constantly be updating your own soul expression in that most intimate relationship.